don't believe anybody, even me. I know how much comedians sacrifice. Anything can look like depression doesn't always look like you sitting in the dark room with the covers over your head. Sometimes it looks like the person that's smiling all the time.
How did you get into this? Like, did you always want to be some sort of entertainer? Was it an acting and then you're like, oh, seems more fun?
I think I always knew I loved comedy. I loved making people laugh.
Do you worry about cancel culture at all? Like saying the wrong thing?
Cancel culture is that's not what it is. And I think where people get it mixed up is it's accountability culture, really. That's what it is. It's not cancel culture. Nobody actually got canceled.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy. And on today's episode, I am sitting down with comedian, actress, and writer Gina Brillon. We talk about everything from the struggle of comedy to the journey and the rise of success to TikTok to conspiracy theories to her specials. We touch everything in this episode. You are not going to want to miss it. There's a lot of great insightful pieces, and there's some funny moments as well. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this brief episode with our guest on Next to Madison. Hi, it's your host, Madison Malloy. For those of you who don't know, I've written and created a powerful collection of books to help you build confidence, shift your mindset, and attract the life you truly want. From Time to Lighten the F Up, to Affirm and Flourish, Color Your Way to Abundance, and more. These aren't just books, they're tools for transformation. Grab a copy now on Amazon or at madisonmalloy.com. Now back to the show. Okay, we are back on this very fun episode of Next to Madison. I have got with me in studio actress, writer, and comedian Gina Brillon. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, you and I have known each other for a very long time when we used to work for free.
Oh, yes.
A lot. Those were the days. Do you remember, like, we'd work for pizza? I remember I used to have to babysit some guy's kid for free.
I did everything. I did. I had every job under the sun. I was a barista for probably about 5 years. I was a waitress. I worked at a cell phone store. I did temp work. I babysat. I did anything and everything until comedy started paying the bills.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? But do you ever miss the days where it was just simpler, like the struggle? Because sometimes the beauty's in the rise.
Yeah, I miss a lot of the freedom that I had when I just started out, because as you, I guess, level up is the best way to put it. As you level up, the pressure also levels up.
Oh,
in the beginning, we're so free, and you'll watch, like, even now you'll watch like newer comics, and their only concern is this funny?
Yeah.
Is this funny? Am I getting a laugh? And there was a freedom in that, in just having that, is this funny? Not is this meaningful, not am I saying something, but is this funny? And there was a freedom in that. And I think you can still have that, but you still have the added pressure of, let's say, like, I have a couple of specials under my belt. Mm-hmm. People may come out to shows and maybe they want to see the stuff from the special, but maybe I'm working on new stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, but we didn't come for the new stuff. We came for the special. And it's like, well, that's not how this works.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a concert.
Right.
I'm not going to play like your favorite
greatest
track.
hits. I'm not doing the greatest hits all the time. I might throw one or two in there that you've heard before, but there's work that has to be done. So the pressure is high. I miss kind of that freedom of being able to just play.
Yeah. So you've grown a great social media following. You've got a big TikTok now, especially, and doing your stuff. You're married. You have a baby. So there are more eyes on you. So yeah, the pressure is a lot higher. Do you worry about cancel culture at all? Like saying the wrong thing?
No, because I'm a pretty aware person as to what's obviously what's obviously offensive. I think the days of just saying stuff for shock value, have kind of died out, only because, like, it doesn't work. Yeah. Shock value doesn't work anymore. You can't just say stuff to shock people. And also, cancel culture is that's not what it is. And I think where people get it mixed up is it's accountability culture, really. That's what it is. It's not cancel culture. Nobody actually got canceled. Most of the people that dealt with cancel culture ended up, like, still living their lives or still doing whatever. It's a far and few between are the ones that actually got canceled. Yeah. So I think accountability is what the industry never had. Specifically if you're talking about entertainment, accountability was something that the higher ups in entertainment never had to deal with, and some of the performers never had to deal with. So what started happening was people getting held accountable for the things they said and the actions that they did. And that was the big issue, is comedy finally got an HR department. And it came via the people, and we were not thrilled with it. I don't necessarily see it as good or bad, but I see it as interesting. And maybe that's just my lot in life. I think I always, whatever people see as good as bad, I'm always like, that's very interesting.
Yeah, you're like, let me see how
that's
that really is.
That's the forever observer. That's the comedian. Yeah. We're perched on a branch, like watching things happen.
So how did you get into this? Like, did you always want to be some sort of entertainer? Was it acting, and then you're like, oh, seems more fun? I
knew I wanted to be a performer.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I think I always knew I loved comedy. I loved making people laugh. When I was younger, I would do it for my family. I would make people laugh. I just couldn't see people upset. And when I saw that laughter could change someone's whole energy, it was so magical, especially at a young age, like a kid, when you see somebody change and you make a grown-up laugh. I see it with my son. When he makes me laugh, there's this pride that like comes over him where he's like, ha, I just made a grown-up laugh. And I remember being like that as a kid and being like, I would make my parents' friends laugh, like belly laugh, genuine laugh, not even courtesy laughs. I was good.
Yeah, exactly.
So I loved it so much. And my family said I was good at it. They actually believed in me. And so
I love that.
I fell in love with comedy at 14, and that was it.
When did you start doing comedy?
I started writing comedy at 17 and performing it for my classmates in high school.
Okay.
At because I was in theater, I was in drama. I was in musical theater and drama.
Yeah.
And they were so supportive. They just would sit there while I held my little hairbrush as a microphone and did my stand-up act. And they were so, so sweet. And then my mom entered me and my twin sister in a contest the day we graduated, funniest person from the Bronx.
Oh.
And that was my first time on stage, and that's all it took. I stepped on stage for that first time at what was at the time Stand Up New York, and then that was my first comedy stage.
Oh my gosh. And now it's just come to full circle.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have everything you want, because we never do until we die. We're always learning. But are you happy with the trajectory of your career?
I am. I think I'm just honestly so thankful, because I've had a lot of, with the good and the bad, I've had just about every experience that somebody with 20 plus years in this industry can say they've had,
Yeah.
And I'm blessed to have had good and bad moments, because both taught me so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What do you think was like the biggest lesson that you've learned in the struggle? Because it's hard being a comedian.
It is.
Like, that's how we know each other. It's a road that you never thought would take as long as it did.
Right.
But it does.
It takes a long time. Even for those people who fast-tracked it, it still took 4 to 6 to 8 years, and that was fast-tracking it.
That's a fast track, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Real fast track.
And people don't understand how fast that is in comedy for somebody to have made it that far. I think, like, the biggest lesson that I think I learned is that I'm capable. Mm-hmm. And I think the importance of that for someone like me who is, neurodivergent, who wasn't like the star student, who has always questioned how smart I was in the world and thinking I wasn't capable of so much, to look back at everything that I've accomplished, every up, every down, like just knowing that I am capable, that I handled it however I could handle it at that moment. And that was a big lesson for me. And I think more people need to understand that failing or having failures doesn't mean that you're not capable of success.
Well, failures is the only place you learn.
Failure and success are hand in hand. I always say it. And I've learned that lesson many times.
Yeah, failure's the lesson, success is the reward.
That's right.
And you got to just keep going through it. So let's talk about fear. A lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
The number one fear out there is public speaking, which comedy is a form of. And the fear that I had, I wasn't afraid to go on stage. It was really, I didn't take all the chances I needed to at the beginning, or even in the middle. because I was afraid of what people would think. I mean, we're always afraid to bomb. We don't want to bomb, but it's just inevitable. So you weren't taking those chances because that fear for me was driving the ship at that point.
Right.
Like, how have you gotten through those moments where you get over that fear to push those boundaries? Because you have to be where you are now. You've had to let that fear go.
It was hard. It's not an easy fear to let go of, and I don't think it ever disappears. You just learn how to put it in its place.
I like that. Yeah.
You learn how to swing the pendulum to the positive, the antithesis of fear.
Yeah.
So you remember also that being courageous doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It just means that you still make a move, even if you are afraid. So when you can accept that, and you can also accept that we're bred to be and conditioned to be people pleasers.
Yes.
And
I know.
there's a part of that you really have to let die. And it's hard, and it doesn't die in every aspect of your life. But if you can get it out of your career, out of your passion, if you can get the people pleasing out of there, if you can realize that, you don't have to please everybody. It's not your job.
Yes.
It was never your lot in life. Then you can get over, or at least learn, like I said, how to put that fear in its place. Because when it pops up, when you go, oh, well, I can't say that, what will people think? Then you can turn to that thought and you can go, I don't care. Because it's what I think. Mm-hmm. And when you start putting yourself first in that way, it changes the game.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, obviously, another fear that people have is, what are people going to think?
Yep.
Are they going to like me? But the thing is, the most successful people, they realize, I remember Jessica Kirson saying this on stage. The more successful you become, the less people are going to like you. So if you're trying to get people to like you, there's going to be tons of people that like you, but there's going to be louder voices that don't, for their own reasons. It's lonelier at the top. That's the saying.
Well, right. Yeah. Not everybody is going to like you, and not everybody should like you. Why should you be agreeable to everybody? No.
Yes, I agree.
And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with not liking someone. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's the thing. You could not like me. That's fine. That's your business, not mine.
Yeah.
That is a you issue. If you don't like me, that is a problem you have chosen to have in life.
Right.
Because I am not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
That's
if you want to get upset,
mindset.
if you want to get upset every time I win, if you want to get upset every time my name comes up, if you want to get upset every time I show up on your For You page, well, then that's on you. I'm not thinking about you.
Yeah.
I have people that I love and I think about, and then people that never cross my mind. Those are the two categories in my life.
I love that.
Why would I waste my time on somebody who doesn't like me? What does that have to do with my life, my success, my passions? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And convincing you to like me is not something I'm willing to put energy in. If you
that's
don't
well
like
said.
me,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So but that was probably a journey at first, because when you start really growing on these platforms, all the hate becomes a new thing. And you're like, these people don't even know me. Like, where is this coming from? So obviously that first one was probably difficult, but now you're just kind of used to it, because you do have a large platform. So you probably get some negative Nellies on every post.
Are you kidding me? All the time. And here's the thing, and I'm very transparent about this. All of my social media is highly filtered for comments, but it's only filtered for hate speech, for, anything derogatory.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it's filtered for.
Okay.
And I had somebody message me that was like, here's how I know you're a bad comedian. Your comments are filtered. And I was like, well, they're filtered for derogatory language and hate speak. So what were you trying to say? What exactly were you trying to say?
How did they know?
Exactly. You tried to make a comment and you couldn't post it because you were saying something that had either hate speech or derogatory language. That is my prerogative on my page. If you are on my page, you just entered my house.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So if you didn't want to come to my house, boo-boo, why did you click on the video? Why did you click on the video? Don't wipe your feet on my rug because you mad. Leave the house. Leave.
Exactly.
You don't have to leave a comment. You don't have to watch. So if you're and I say this from the bottom of my heart, too stupid to know how to scroll past a video you don't like, well, maybe someone needs to take your social media away.
Well, it's like these keyboard warriors. I think that's what they get off on.
Right, because it's the only power that they can have in that moment. And when somebody needs to be heard that badly, it really is sad. Like when you're like you don't care to be known as even the best version of yourself. You would rather be known as the person who was too dumb to scroll past something you didn't like.
Exactly, or unfollow it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, but it's so much negativity, but there is so much positivity in it.
The positivity is great, and the negativity comes with it. If you take one, you got to take the other.
Well, it's a battery.
Yeah.
You gotta, that's just the way life works. It's the good and the bad, but you don't know the good without the bad.
Exactly.
So that's why it's always embrace the both sides of it.
Right.
Because that's how you know the difference.
Exactly.
Or else it's one and the same. So AI, obviously, rise in AI, there's been a lot of benefits to it, but people are nervous. They've recently had the actress come out who's beautiful and talented and completely non-existent. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that this might be coming for comedy too?
I mean, it already came for comedy. They did a whole AI George Carlin special, and
I didn't see that.
Yeah, and people were ripping it apart because it was a violation of so many things, a violation of Carlin's legacy, a violation of his family's rights and everything.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. So it's already come for comedy. It's going to come for just about everything. Yeah. I think what we're demonizing the wrong thing. We're demonizing the program and not the people using it. We're demonizing this thing that could be used in amazing ways.
Yes.
Because of the few people that have decided to pervert this thing for the sake of what they're calling creativity, which is not. You're robbing creativity from the artists when you're doing stuff like this. And I think a part of them knows that. And, I think a lot of the divide is very intentional. Like, not to go all conspiracy theory, but if everything's a distraction, then the hatred for AI is the biggest conspiracy theory distraction ever, because it's just look over here at this shiny thing that's upsetting you while everything else that can actually affect your life is going to be messed with. So I think the distraction is working for a lot of people, but I just, again, sit back.
Well, and the fear, too. I mean, how do you control people? You instill them with fear. So all of a sudden it's like, all right, what jobs are coming? What is safe, what's not safe. People are saying they're not going to go to college anymore. They're
right.
But then you've got other things that are just fascinating. Speaking of like rabbit holes and everything, this is not a conspiracy anymore. There's like a cruise ship the size of Manhattan coming at us.
Yeah.
The 3AI Atlas. This whole thing. This is the most fascinating thing to watch. But some of the images you don't know if they're AI generated.
Well, that was the whole thing. Real. If we're going down the conspiracy, girl, we could talk for hours about this. Yeah. There's literally so many whistleblowers that are like, please don't fall for this. This is all a trick.
But now all the news channels are starting to cover it.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. I encourage everybody to do this deep dive rabbit hole into Project Bluebeam, which is what everybody is talking about, which is all about AI and all about digitally created images in order to create a collective fear that moves people in the necessary direction. And so
amazing.
One of the best things that I heard George Carlin say in an interview, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not going to give exactly what he said, but he basically talked about feeling the only way to dispel fear and the sadness that comes with all the things that are happening now is he removed himself so much from the narrative that he became the observer. So now he was just watching things happen as opposed to feeling the fear and sitting in it. Now, for some people, that's not possible. I'm not saying everybody should do this, but it's something that I think I've identified with for so much of my life because I sit back and I go, oh, this is insane. And that has a lot to do with philosophy and worldview. Yeah. But when you step back and you look at, here are the conspiracy theories, here's what's happening now, and it's following suit with exactly what a lot of the conspiracy theories are saying. They're like not even trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah.
So you're just going, you don't know, nobody knows what to believe. Nobody knows what to believe, and nobody knows what to actually be afraid of. Because what's scarier? the actual idea of something hurtling towards Earth, or the idea that they could create that fear in all of us, to the point of turning on each other, to the point of moving us into a certain religion or a certain, mindset.
Yeah. Well, I always heard that when the rapture came, that they would spin it as an alien, like these people were kidnapped by aliens. They weren't going to say, well, the good people are gone. Now it's all you degenerates that are left down here. So good luck, That's where so now it's like it's coming closer. People are thinking the rapture's happening. Jesus is almost here.
Yeah, that was
and it's like,
the whole thing.
Whoa, what's going on here, right? I feel like I'm in that mindset where it's like, listen, there's only so much stuff we can control. So control what you can and just let go of the rest. It's all a journey. I mean, if we all get like kidnapped by aliens or Jesus comes back, hopefully we go. It's all part of the journey, and it's going to be fabulous.
If aliens come and they don't take me, I'm going to be so fucking mad, bro. If they come here and they leave me behind, like they got to take everybody. Me, the husband, the kid, everything.
Right. The aliens I don't want, but Jesus, he's got to take everybody.
Jesus or aliens. Yeah. Either one comes and you don't take all of us, we're going to have a problem.
Exactly. But here's the thing is like from the images I saw that could have been the AI, it literally looked like a giant, really well-lit cruise ship, like a Carnival cruise line, just cruising towards.
And they could just cut and paste and make it look like there's a cruise ship in the sky.
But what's even crazier is I've had people on this podcast who actually work for like the Space Society or whatever the government space thing is.
Hilarious.
And one was a space medicine doctor, so she is studying how do you treat ailments, medical conditions in this different environment, right? Because even though you're creating some gravity, it's still a different atmosphere. How are broken bones going to be treated? How are sicknesses? So there's an actual thing. And then there's luxury companies like Hermes and Chanel who are investing in these shopping malls that are going to go into these, they're basically space stations. They're like cruise ships where we'll be able to travel. They drop you off and you hang out in space. So instead of the ocean, it's just stars everywhere.
I'm good.
But they're saying this is going to happen in 10 years.
Okay, first of all,
you're going to be performing at the space station.
Have me gagged. 10 years? That's
10
insane.
Years.
There was a guy from NASA who was just like, this is going to be our first trip to the moon. We're all like, wait, what do you mean first
some
trip?
People say that it was all staged, that was the first AI
That's why that clip
shit
went viral of somebody from NASA recently. I don't know the dude's name. I do not do grown-up stuff like that. But it went viral. This guy was like, yeah, this is the first time we're sending humans to the moon. And everybody was like, what you mean first time, sir? Did you just let something slip?
Yeah. Well, that's what they're saying, that it was all like fake. But why would they have staged a moon landing? Because that wasn't a fear thing. That was like, how cool is this?
Well... The thing is, it was my understanding that I believe it was Russia who was actually on the fast track to going to the moon. And so the US was like, oh, no, that cannot happen. So we need them to think that we are there already and we got there before them. And then there's all these. Trust me, when I say I go down rabbit holes, girl, I mean, going down rabbit holes. I am reading a William Cooper book as we speak. So please know, I've gone down every rabbit hole possible.
Yeah. Well, I got to send you those episodes. I got to bring those people back on. Be like, all right, well, it's been 2 or 3 years. Are we 7 years now away from the space thing?
Is it happening? And watch. Actually, we've had some hiccups. Because 10 years to be doing something like that. Look,
it's crazy, but they're saying it's going to happen, and they're on this trajectory. I mean, you have a doctor who's like has her licenses, and she's like legit. And doesn't study like how to fix broken bones on the planet. You know what's
so funny? There was, for those of you very into conspiracy theories, which I feel like we're tapping into a very specific audience.
Yeah, right.
My best friend sent me this clip of William Cooper, and he was talking about, basically his journey and how he became a whistleblower. And one thing he said that I respected so much is he said, don't believe anybody, even me. Don't believe the government. Don't believe me. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Find out the answers. And I respected that so much because he wasn't looking for the blind loyalty that a lot of the current systems require of us.
Yeah.
He was actually asking you to question, asking you to critical think, like do some critical thinking in this area. Go get your own answers. Don't trust me as your only source.
Yeah.
And I respected that so much. And I always say, don't trust the one source, even if it's the most trusted source you can find. Get other information. Make sure you get the
COVID
info.
taught us a bunch of that shit. It was like everything you thought was real all of a sudden was, no, that's funded by this. This is funded by that. And it was a whole thing. So that's the thing, too. It's like, you know what? It's like that's why I try to turn off the news.
Oh, I don't watch the news. And somehow I stay informed. That's why it's all over the place. I don't watch the news, and yet I stay informed because they won't let us not take in that information. It's going to show up on your feed. It's going to show up on your social media. It's going to happen in conversation because it's everywhere.
Well, exactly. But yeah, no, I think that, this whole alien comet thing is almost like that fascination. Remember when those two prisoners escaped that upstate New York jail, and they were booking it through the forest, and it got to a point where it was days and days and weeks had gone by, and all of a sudden you started kind of rooting for them to make it to Canada.
Hilarious.
You're like, yeah, I kind of hope they make it. You're like, how far are they gonna get?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you're like, you know what? They beat the system.
Right. So that's why it's like, I'm like, oh, this is like the other excitement. Like, we're following this. Like, what's really gonna happen? But I feel like, yeah, it is to instill fear, but I don't know. I think they're setting up the rapture, but I don't know.
Well, they tried. Didn't they have that one preacher that was like, oh, the rapture is going to happen on Wednesday?
Supposed to be September 23rd or 24th. I remember I was on Fox News Radio that day, and I said, yeah, a lot of people are disappointed because the rapture didn't come. And the guy looked me straight in the face, and he said, the day's not over. So I had to call him the next day and say, we made it. We made it through.
I guess we're the only ones left, buddy, huh? Me and you, huh?
I was like, everybody I know must be a horrible person because they're all still here.
Like, let's check on all the really religious states and let's see where are all the religious parts of the world. Someone call Vatican City. What's happening over there? Exactly. Is anything happening? Did they all disappear? It's just a bunch of robes everywhere. What happened?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, you know what? I think the moral of the story is just be a good person, deliver value. Right. And that's like what you do as a comedian is like laughter is the best medicine in the entire world.
Yeah.
Do you know you can take somebody out of their shitty life and their shitty day and
or take yourself out of all your own shit.
I remember going to shows sometimes. I would have a really shit day and I'd be on the phone with my mom crying.
Yep.
I don't want to do this. I fucked up my life. I want to quit. And then all of a sudden you'd go and you'd just kill it.
And you'd have a great set. And you'd be like, just kidding. Sorry for the mentee bee, everybody.
Right, exactly. No, it's true. But we've all had those breakdowns. Where it's just,
oh, yeah. People ask me all the time, like, have you ever wanted to quit? I'm like, every week.
Still?
Every fucking week.
Still,
yes, though? Every week. Every week I look at all the work that it takes to do this, and I go, why am I doing this thankless shit? And then I realize it's because I love it so much. And I tell people, you got to love it. You got to love it this much. You got to love it even when it's shitty. You got to love it so much that the thought of not doing it is worse.
Yes. Because I love the stage. Like, I still do the comedy. I still get booked. I still go on. And I love it. But I didn't like the lifestyle.
The lifestyle's insane.
I love the work, but not the lifestyle.
It's insane.
Yeah. Like the hanging out. But I think COVID kind of changed a lot of stuff because like I remember Paul Verzi and I had this conversation. He said there was this thing where it's like you had to do multiple shows a night and you had all this pressure on you and you had to do this and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden it was like COVID came and it was like, wait a second, most of my work's on the road. I can go and work on some stuff here and there, but I don't need to be out every night. I can relax and I can just do my thing on the road and I can have a normal life and enjoy my family. All of a sudden this how many shows you were doing wasn't as relevant.
Right.
So it took a lot of that pressure off. And then obviously you've got the rise of TikTok. I mean, imagine if we had TikTok when we started.
God.
Could have been totally different. But the
and
stuff
also,
I was talking
there
about
would be a lot of people without work because there'd be too much footage of them doing all the shady things. Oh, there'd be a lot of footage that people would not want. People are thankful. People are thankful we didn't have the TikToks and as much of social media as we have now. it would have changed the game for a lot of people. But you're right about the pressures of the life itself. Like, it ain't for everybody. Like,
late nights.
People really don't realize, like, and this is why I think I love comedy so much, because I know how much comedians sacrifice to do what we do. We don't think about it. That's the thing. Like, I don't think about it all the time and go, damn, I sacrifice time with my family. I sacrifice time with myself. My downtime is sacrificed. My health is sometimes sacrificed because I've worked when I've been sick because I had no other choice. How else am I going to pay the bills if I don't get out there and do it? I've worked when I was tired. I've worked when I've lost people and had to somehow go and make a room full of people laugh while I was in the middle of grief. And I understand so much of what we sacrifice that I love it. That just makes me love it even more, and love comedians even. Most, not all. I love, I don't want to make it seem like everybody's a fucking gem. They're not all gems.
Most people are good. There's only a few that I've crossed.
I have a small group of people that I absolutely adore, and then a wider group of people that I don't mind, and then an even wider group of people that I'd never contact. So that's just, those are the tiers. Those are the tiers.
Well, it's normal though too, because they actually say you should only have like 5 people. The amount of people you can actually count on. So we all have like all these acquaintances, right? But like if you got in trouble, like there's really only 4 or 5 people you can call, and that's normal. Right. Having more than that, it's like, okay, maybe you should nurture those other relationships a little bit more. Maybe you're not putting in more time. I think people see it as like a numbers type thing. But have you run into the person that was a TikToker who wasn't a comedian, and all of a sudden they're a comedian?
Yep.
Like, how is, because I know that there was a lot of stuff on Matt Rife where it was
stuff
like,
on Matt Rife. Leave that boy alone.
Yeah,
like, honestly,
I think he's great, but like people are like, he just did this crap, but it's like it worked for him.
Here's the thing: I understood the discourse, and I understood the all the debate. Like, again, this was a young comic who seemingly came out of nowhere, but he didn't. He was actually working for a really long time, and I'm not. Lord knows I don't know that man from Adam, and I'm not trying to defend anything that people had an issue with him saying. That's not my job. I ain't his lawyer. What I'm saying is, we love when people have this meteoric rise to success, and then we cannot wait to like drop kick them off that pedestal that we so willingly put them on. And did he say and do a couple of things that were probably not the best or well thought out things? Yeah, probably.
Haven't we all?
But yeah, if there's a camera in your face, or you're filmed at all of your shows and you're filming a special for the first time and you're throwing yourself out there, almost throwing yourself to the wolves, you've got to expect that you're going to be picked apart by a lot of people.
Oh, of course. I don't think he minds. I think he's doing just fine.
Oh, are you kidding me?
He's hot. He's got a hot girlfriend.
He's a white man in this industry. He's fine. Short of finding literal bodies in his house, he's fine.
Right, exactly.
Like, let's not pretend he doesn't have the privilege of being both white and male in an industry that loves both of those things. Yeah. So let's not pretend that that's not a thing. Yeah. But he was bound to be scrutinized. Of course. He was bound to be scrutinized.
Anyone that puts yourself out there, you're opening
That's basically what the agreement is. I'm putting myself out there knowing that you guys could easily rip me apart for anything. But the good news is people are also very forgetful. And I think all that upset flew out the window when the next big upsetting thing happened.
Well, exact. But then there's the comedians who have been the comedians for years. Like, one of my favorites is Theo Von. He went and did the special, and apparently it didn't go well. I wasn't there, but it was a whole like thing. It was like he's too busy podcasting that he's lost his touch being a comedian. It's like, do you ever think like we have bad nights? Like I've had a night where I've like totally I've just said to myself when I walked off stage, thank God nobody I know is here.
We all have bad nights, and the thing is with a special, what's really upsetting is that a special is, that's like our children. These are our creative children. You put together a special. I have 5 specials, and I can tell you at each point in my life where I was for those 5 specials. Okay. They mean something to me. They are pivotal canon events in my life, each one of them, from the first one to the last one I did. And so to have that happen with a special is extra heartbreaking when you know the work that it takes to put into a special. Like, I'm not the person that sees that and goes, oh, that's juicy gossip. My heart broke for Theo. My heart legitimately broke for him. And I actually sent him a message to just check on him because we worked together years ago, but I still care as a person. And,
of course.
Just to be like, hey, I heard what happened. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, and I think...
Did he respond?
No. But I didn't do it to get the response.
Yeah.
I did it to be like, hey, you're still seen. You're still... Even if you don't respond, you know that I see you. Like, I'm coming to... I don't like to comment publicly when people post stuff because sometimes I feel like that's... Like, if I know you or I've met you personally, I'm going to message you. But there's no pressure to message back. I realize I'm not owed anything. Right. I realize that you have a schedule, a life, and people that are actually close to you that you should respond to.
Yeah.
But just to be like, hey, if you're ever needing anybody and your top 5 are not available,
right,
I'm still here.
Yeah. No, and that's absolutely the right thing to do because there's a lot of comedians. This is a great business, but it's a dark business. Right. And there's a lot of mental health that is in this. And we all know people who have committed suicide that were comedians and you thought everything was great. They were doing very well. And
that's why I always make it a point. Even if I'm like, well, they're not going to respond. I still feel the need to say something. I'm like, just say something.
Even if follow that gut, that intuition,
because how many times have I been so thankful that somebody noticed when I was in a mood or when I was posting stuff? I remember I was going through a really, really bad breakup. Yeah. And I had posted something on Facebook and immediately my phone rang. And it was a good friend of mine. And he said, what's happening? He said, I just saw your post. That is not like you. I want you to talk to somebody.
Do you remember what the post was?
It must have been something really dark. I can't quite remember what the post was, but it was dark enough that I got a phone call and ended up crying over the phone with a friend and ended up booking a therapy appointment for the next week. Yeah. But I was so thankful that I had somebody who reached out, Yeah. So I always remember that moment and I'm like, what if they just needed one person to reach out?
Exactly. So that should be a message for everyone listening is like, when you see something that seems alarming, like, you never know when you make a difference in somebody's
and you never life. Know, like anything can look like depression doesn't always look like you sitting in the dark room with the covers over your head. Sometimes it looks like the person that's smiling all the time.
Yeah. Or on stage making everybody laugh.
And so when you take little cues and you pay attention to people in that way and you go, oh, this person's off tonight. Mm-hmm. I once did it for a friend of mine that I noticed was drinking heavily one night at a comedy club, another comedian. And before he left, I said, hey, are you okay? And he said no. And he just walked out and I ran out after him, but he had disappeared. I called probably about 8 different people to ask if anybody had seen him, if anybody had his direct number. I got his direct number. I called him. I left a message. I sent a text message. I said, please just call me. Let me know you're okay. Yeah. You don't even have to explain to me anything that's happening. Just let me know that you're physically okay. And he did call and we talked for about an hour. And, he was very thankful.
Of course.
Because someone he couldn't believe how much I had tried to find him. Yeah. And I was like, well, I was legitimately worried. And I think when you feel that, you have to go with that instinct of let me just check. I want to make sure.
Because everyone just wants to know that there's somebody that cares.
Right. That just have that somebody, especially if you're not used to that, especially if you've never had that.
Yeah. And comedy is one of those things you have, there's just a lot of mental illness,
Yes.
And it's,
look at what we do. It's mentally draining. It's physically draining. We're putting ourselves out there.
And there's no guarantee, right? There's not guarantee. A corporate ladder, right? You could work your ass off and
for years you could be phenomenal, by the way.
And
you could be an incredible comedian.
I know.
And still not have your work see the light of day.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's you're really taking a chance and taking a bet on yourself. I always thought halfway through my career I'd meet a rich husband, and then I wouldn't have the temp job anymore. Well, that didn't work. God had a different plan. He was like, oh, no.
Oh, no, girl.
We're going to make you look like a well taken care of housewife, but we're going to make you work like a trailer park girl. And I'll be like, okay.
You're like, all right, I guess I got to do this now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But I remember being frustrated in this business at points, and I remember just looking at somebody going, whose dick do you got to suck to get noticed around here? But I wouldn't have ever done that because I like my
there's like
parents,
5 open microphones that are like, mine. Just me, mine, whatever it takes.
Because it felt so impossible to be seen.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like you can't, you don't want to do that, That's what
I couldn't
OnlyFans
even
is for,
think
apparently.
about that. I don't think I've always been this person that if I think about how hard it is, I'm going to quit. If I think about how hard it is, I'm going to cry. If I think about how hard it is, I'm going to get intimidated.
Yeah.
But if I just fucking do it,
that's the message.
And don't give myself a second to be scared, then I might have a shot.
So did you hear there's a correlation between people that like make the most successful people, what they found is the time between idea and execution.
Oh my God.
So the shorter that idea to execution is, the more successful you're going to be. So what happens is everybody has a great idea.
Yep.
But then they delay executing. They don't know how to execute. And then they never execute. I remember my grandfather, he used to say he invented the pop-up trailer. But somebody else had beaten it to him. I said he had the idea, maybe before the guy, maybe after, who knows, but he didn't execute. So that window, which is what you're saying really right there, don't think about the fear, just do it.
Just do it.
Just the idea
if
was
it
there
flops,
and go.
It flops.
Exactly.
At least you took action. At least you did it.
Yeah.
There's this great video where Michael Jackson talks about, it was like an audio clip, I believe, where he's talking about how if it's 1 a.m., he will get up and write down an idea. It doesn't matter because he believes that we all pull from the same creative source, and he didn't want his idea to go to Prince.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Because have you ever worked on a project? Like I've worked on, an idea for a show or something in the past, and you were writing and then all of a sudden something similar comes out. And I remember one of my friends that I was creating stuff with was like, oh, there's a whole thing. Like once you have a thought, it goes out into the collective universe.
And if you don't put it down and you don't take care of it somebody else is going to grab it.
Well, that's exactly right. So that should scare everybody. When you have an idea, you've got to execute. And if you don't know how to execute, that's okay. Find the people that do.
Right.
Because the whole thing is people are afraid to also delegate. Take that remedial stuff, whatever you can, off your plate.
Right.
Find somebody who does know how to do it. You think that Elon Musk knows how to build a car? No, but he had a great idea and he found people that could execute it quickly.
Right.
And that's what it's about.
100%. Learning how to delegate and learning how to learn what you can and cannot do, and then do it confidently.
Exactly. Because I have a friend who is a very successful home builder, and he said, and he doesn't build anything under $4 million. And he said, you think I know how to, he's like, I haven't even hammered a nail in 50 years. I don't know how to build a house, but he knows how to work with the right people,
right,
and build that business. And he's become so.
And that's part of success too. That's part of successful people too.
I mean, artists, you obviously have to have your part of it, but the other thing, I think artists they get overwhelmed by trying to take on too much when they can delegate
100%.
certain things and focus on like that craft. But yeah, no, I like that execution. So where can everybody find your specials? Follow you. She does great like motivational stuff. She does funny stuff. She's a mom. You're a wife. Like you have a normal life. Like you actually made it. You made it. You got specials. Here I am. Like I still can't like find a guy that doesn't annoy me.
Girl, it took me forever.
I got frozen eggs. I'm like, what?
And my husband still annoys me. I love him to pieces, but he still get on my damn nerves.
Yeah.
I'm just willing to put up with it because he's a great person. Like I know he's a great person, and I love him, and I know I'm not perfect, so I know I get on his nerves too. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's about how you manage that.
I
but
agree.
You can find my specials on Amazon, HBO Max, Tubi apparently also has my specials. News to me, but if you got Tubi, you can also find me on there. And my latest special, Mind Your Business, is on YouTube. So you can check that out on my YouTube. You can find me at G Brillon on Instagram, Gina Brillon on TikTok, and ginabrillon.com for any tour dates.
Yeah, so you guys definitely go check her out. She is fabulous, so funny. Love you to death. I'm so happy you were here. And thank you to everybody who's listening, wherever you may be. We will see you next time to find out who's next. Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.